My beloved child, do not rush past this moment. I must speak to you now. There are times when my voice comes as a quiet invitation, gently waiting for your heart to respond. And there are moments when love calls with greater urgency, not to fill you with fear, but because what I desire to place upon your heart cannot wait forever. This is one of those moments. Before the distractions return, before doubt begins to speak louder than hope, I want you to listen. You may believe you simply found another video, another message among many. But pause and consider this. Why did your eyes stop here? Why did your heart hesitate instead of moving on? I know the questions you have been carrying, the burdens you have been trying to bear alone, and the silent conversations you have had with me when no one else was listening. I have seen your weariness, your disappointments, your hopes that seem delayed, and your longing for reassurance that I am still near. My child, I have been with you through every one of those moments. This is not about panic. It is about presence. There are seasons when life becomes so loud that my gentle guidance is easily overlooked. Responsibilities multiply. Worries compete for your attention. Discouragement whispers that nothing will ever change. Yet even then I have continued reaching toward you with patience and compassion. I have never stopped calling your name. I have never stopped preparing wisdom for the moments when you would finally become still enough to hear it. If you move past this message without listening, you may miss an opportunity to receive the encouragement your heart has quietly been asking for. You may overlook the perspective that brings peace into confusion, the reminder that renews your courage, or the invitation to trust me more deeply in the middle of uncertainty. But if you stay, if you open your heart without rushing to conclusions, you may discover that the very thing you have been praying about looks different in the light of my presence. You may find renewed strength where you expected only exhaustion, clarity where you expected only questions, and hope where disappointment once seemed to have the final word. Beloved, I know you have wondered if your prayers matter. I know there have been days when heaven felt silent and your faith felt stretched. Yet silence has never meant absence. While you waited, I was shaping your heart. While you questioned, I was strengthening your character. While you could not see the whole path, I was faithfully guiding each step. So remain here with me for a little longer. Quiet the voices of hurry, fear, and discouragement. Listen not only with your ears, but with your spirit. What follows is not merely information. It is an invitation to draw closer, to see your circumstances through the lens of hope, and to remember that my love has never left your side. Now, my child, let this moment become the beginning of what I have been patiently waiting to share with you. My child, I need you to pause for a moment because you have been moving through life carrying more than you admit to yourself. You have become so used to functioning while emotionally tired that you barely notice how heavy your inner world has become. You wake up already thinking about responsibilities. You answer people even when your mind feels crowded. You keep going because you believe you have no choice, but somewhere along the way, your peace slowly started disappearing. What concerns me is not only your exhaustion. It is the fact that you have started treating that exhaustion as normal. You tell yourself that once things calm down, you will finally rest. Once certain problems are solved, you will finally breathe again. But your heart has been waiting for relief for much longer than you realize. There are emotions you pushed aside because you felt too busy to deal with them properly. There are disappointments you never fully processed because life kept demanding your attention. I see the moments when your mind keeps racing even after the day is over. I see how difficult it has become for you to feel fully present, even during quiet moments. You are physically here, but emotionally you have been running on empty for a long time. That is why I interrupted your moment today. I am not trying to overwhelm you. I'm trying to reach you before your spirit becomes even more disconnected from the peace you desperately need. You have been surviving emotionally instead of truly living. There is a difference, and deep inside, you already know it. You have smiled through conversations while silently feeling drained. You have continued showing up for others while neglecting the condition of your own heart. You have carried stress for so long that you forgot what it feels like to feel emotionally safe within yourself. I need you to understand something clearly. Your worth was never meant to depend on how much pressure you can tolerate without breaking down. You do not have to keep proving your strength by silently carrying everything alone. Some of the heaviness inside you comes from trying to manage burdens that were never meant to stay entirely on your shoulders. I never wanted your life to become a constant cycle of emotional survival. You still have time to reconnect with yourself, with peace, and with the parts of your heart that have been neglected. But you cannot continue ignoring what your soul has been trying to tell you. This interruption happened because I love you too much to stay silent while you slowly disappear inside your exhaustion. My child, I need you to stop and be honest with yourself for a moment, because you have spent too much time convincing everyone around you that you are okay while something inside you has been slowly wearing down. You answer questions with quick smiles. You keep conversations moving. You continue handling responsibilities because you do not want anyone to see how mentally and emotionally exhausted you really feel. But when the noise fades and you are finally alone with your thoughts, you feel the distance growing between who you are on the outside and what is happening within you. A disconnect has become heavier than you expected. You were never meant to carry constant pressure without rest for your soul. Yet you have allowed yourself to become trapped in a cycle where survival became your normal routine. You wake up already tense. Your mind moves from one concern to another without giving your heart space to breathe. Even when good moments happen, part of you struggles to enjoy them fully because your thoughts keep pulling you back toward worry, pressure, unfinished problems, or fear about what might happen next. Come closer to me now, and let yourself admit that this is not the life your heart truly wants. I know you have tried to stay strong because you feel responsible for people around you. You fear letting others down. You fear appearing weak. Sometimes you even feel guilty for needing comfort yourself because you are so used to being the one who carries everyone else emotionally. But listen carefully to me. Your soul cannot continue living on scraps of peace while your burdens keep multiplying. Open your heart to me honestly. Stop pretending that constant emotional strain is strength. It is not strength to ignore your own wounds until you no longer recognize yourself. You have also drifted away from the things that once made you feel connected to life. Certain dreams no longer excite you. Certain routines feel empty. Even your quiet moments feel restless instead of healing. That emptiness inside you did not appear overnight. It grew slowly while you focused on surviving everything around you. I am asking you now to stop running from what your spirit has been trying to show you. Sit with your heart honestly. Let yourself breathe without distraction for a moment. Invite peace back into places where anxiety have been sitting for too long. Do not wait until your exhaustion completely hardens your heart. Come back to yourself now. Let me guide you gently before the pressure inside you becomes even heavier. You do not need to carry all of this alone anymore. My child, the heaviness you have been feeling recently did not appear without reason. You keep trying to explain it away as stress, fatigue, or another difficult season. But deep down you know something more personal has been happening inside you. There have been moments where you suddenly felt emotionally overwhelmed without fully understanding why. Small things have affected you more deeply than before. Certain days felt unusually empty even when nothing outwardly went wrong. Your heart has been reacting to things your mind keeps trying to ignore. I have been trying to get your attention gently for a long time. Not through fear, but through the quiet discomfort growing inside you whenever you keep abandoning your own emotional needs. You continue pouring energy into responsibilities, expectations, and distractions while your inner life becomes more neglected. Your soul feels the imbalance even when your schedule remains full. That is why certain distractions no longer satisfy you the way they once did. That is why silence has started feeling uncomfortable. Part of you already senses that your heart needs healing, honesty, and deeper peace. You have become very skilled at pushing yourself forward while ignoring emotional warning signs. When disappointment hurt you, you told yourself to move on quickly. When exhaustion built up inside you, you convinced yourself you just needed to work harder or stay busy. When loneliness appeared, you distracted yourself instead of sitting honestly with what you were feeling. But avoided emotions do not disappear. They remain inside you quietly shaping your thoughts, your relationships, and your sense of self-worth over time. I want you to stop resisting this moment and truly listen to what your heart has been asking for. Slow down enough to notice how disconnected you have felt from yourself lately. Pay attention to how difficult it has become for you to feel fully rested, fully hopeful, or fully present. These are not small things. Your spirit has been trying to guide you back toward healing before your exhaustion turns into emotional numbness. Do not brush this aside again. Come sit with me honestly now. Remove the pressure to appear strong for a moment. Let your heart speak truthfully instead of hiding behind distractions and routines. I am not exposing your pain to shame you. I am bringing it into the light because I want to heal what you have been carrying silently for too long. Your heaviness is not random, my child. It is your soul asking you to stop surviving and finally begin healing. My child, I need you to notice how crowded your inner world has become. You say you want peace. You say you want direction. You ask me for clarity about your future, your relationships, your purpose, and your next step, yet your life has become filled with so much noise that your heart barely has space to breathe. From the moment your day begins, something is demanding your attention. Your mind jumps from worry to responsibility, from conversations to distractions, from pressure to pressure, until you can no longer tell the difference between your true thoughts and the anxiety surrounding you. Sit still with me for a moment and recognize how long it has been since your spirit felt genuinely quiet. You keep searching for answers while refusing to slow down long enough to hear them. That constant mental noise has been exhausting you more than you realize. Even during moments meant for rest, your mind keeps racing. You replay conversations. You imagine worst-case situations. You think about things you cannot control. Then you wonder why your heart feels distant from peace. I am not hiding clarity from you, my child. Some of the answers you seek have already been trying to rise within you, but your attention has been pulled in too many directions for you to recognize them. I want you to step back and pay attention to what happens when everything becomes quiet for a moment. Beneath all the distractions, your heart already knows certain truths you have been avoiding. You know which environments leave you emotionally drained. You know which habits keep numbing your spirit instead of healing it. You know which relationships constantly pull you away from rest and honesty within yourself. But facing those truths would require change, and part of you has been afraid of what that change might cost. Come closer now, and let yourself breathe without rushing to escape silence. Turn down the noise that has been consuming your attention for too long. Stop filling every empty moment with distraction simply because you are uncomfortable sitting with your own thoughts. Your spirit has been trying to guide you back toward clarity, but clarity rarely speaks through chaos. It speaks softly. It waits for stillness. It reaches you when your heart finally becomes honest enough to listen. Do not keep drowning your inner voice beneath endless activity. Put down the pressure for a moment Step away from what constantly overstimulates your mind. Invite peace back into your daily life intentionally instead of waiting for it to appear on its own. I am not asking you to become perfect overnight. I am asking you to create space where healing, wisdom, and truth can finally reach you again. Your clarity is not far away, my child. It has simply been buried beneath too much noise for too long. My child, as you begin turning down the noise that has been stealing your peace, I am also calling you to help carry this message into the hearts of others who are drowning in the same confusion. There are souls wandering in darkness right now, desperate to hear the very words that are awakening your spirit in this moment. Every seed you sow through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description becomes oil for this lamp I have commanded to keep burning. Did I not say, "Cast your bread upon the waters, for you will find it after many days"? I am breathing life through those who choose to give with obedience instead of hesitation. This is not a casual moment, my child. This is kingdom work unfolding before your eyes, and I am inviting you to become part of the harvest. The hand that releases generously will not return empty, for I will multiply peace, protection, provision, and favor over those who honor my voice through their giving. Do not ignore this prompting. Sow now through Super Thanks, become a member, or give through the PayPal link in the description, and help my word reach the weary hearts still trapped beneath the noise. My child, there are people in your life who see your smile, hear your voice, and assume you are doing much better than you truly are. They see the version of you that continues showing up, handling responsibilities, replying to messages, and making it through the day. What they do not see is how emotionally exhausted you feel underneath all of that effort. Very few people recognize how much energy it takes for you to keep functioning while your heart quietly carries sadness, pressure, disappointment, and emotional fatigue all at once. You have become skilled at surviving in front of others while hiding how deeply tired you really are. I know there are moments when you wish someone would look at you closely enough to notice the difference between your outer composure and your inner struggle. Sometimes you want someone to ask how you are doing and genuinely stay long enough to hear the real answer. But over time, you stopped expecting that kind of understanding. You learned how to carry your emotions privately because explaining your exhaustion started feeling harder than hiding it. Come sit with me honestly now and stop pretending your heart is not weary. You have spent so much time being dependable that people naturally assume you will continue carrying everything without needing support yourself. Some only come to you when they need comfort, advice, or stability. Meanwhile, your own emotional needs remain pushed into the background. I see how lonely that feels sometimes. Not physically lonely, but emotionally unseen. There is a difference. You can stand in a crowded room and still feel like nobody truly understands the weight inside you. I never intended for you to become someone who survives by emotionally disappearing from yourself. Your heart needs care too. Your soul needs gentleness too. Stop minimizing your pain simply because other people expect you to stay strong all the time. Let yourself acknowledge what you have been carrying. Open your heart honestly instead of forcing yourself to remain emotionally guarded every moment of the day. You do not have to keep earning love by overextending yourself until nothing remains inside you. You do not need to hide your exhaustion in order to feel valuable. Come closer to me and let your guard down for a moment. Allow yourself to rest emotionally without feeling guilty for it. The version of you that survives may be visible to everyone else, but I also see the part of you that feels drained, discouraged, and quietly overwhelmed. That hidden part matters deeply to me, and I do not want you abandoning it any longer. My child, I need you to stop avoiding the truth your heart has been trying to whisper to you for a long time. You cannot keep living the same way and expect your soul to remain healthy. You already feel it. The exhaustion has gone deeper than ordinary stress. The emotional weight you carry no longer disappears after a good night of sleep or a temporary distraction. There is a growing tension inside you because part of you understands that something must change, yet another part keeps resisting because change feels uncomfortable, uncertain, and costly. Sit with me honestly for a moment and stop pretending you can continue like this forever. You have adapted to pressure so gradually that you barely noticed how disconnected you became from your own peace. What once felt temporary slowly became your normal routine. You learned how to function while emotionally drained. You learned how to keep conversations going while your mind felt overwhelmed. You learned how to silence your own needs because survival seemed more urgent than healing. But your soul was never designed to live under constant strain without consequences. That heaviness inside you has been building because your inner life is asking for attention you keep postponing. I know why you hesitate. You fear what will happen if you finally slow down enough to face everything honestly. You worry that certain relationships may shift. You fear disappointing people who depend on your constant availability. Some changes may require difficult decisions, uncomfortable boundaries, or letting go of habits that helped you escape emotionally for a while. But listen carefully to me now. Delaying necessary change does not protect your peace. It slowly drains it. Avoidance may feel safer for the moment, but it quietly deepens your exhaustion over time. Come closer to me and let yourself admit what you already know. Certain patterns in your life are no longer sustainable. Certain environments continue draining your spirit. Certain emotional burdens have remained on your shoulders far longer than they should have. Stop waiting for a dramatic collapse before giving your heart the care it has been asking for. Pay attention now while your spirit is still reaching for healing instead of shutting down completely. You do not need to solve your entire future tonight. I am not asking you to become fearless overnight. I am asking you to stop running from honesty. Open your heart. Invite peace into the places where survival mode has been controlling your decisions for too long. Let yourself believe that a calmer, healthier life is still possible for you. Change may feel uncomfortable at first, but remaining trapped inside constant emotional exhaustion will cost you far more. Take my hand now and stop delaying the healing your soul has been pleading for. My child, there is a reason your heart feels unsettled while listening to these words. This moment carries more weight than you realize. You are standing at a quiet crossroads in your life right now, even if nobody around you can see it. The choices forming inside you during this season will shape your emotional future far more than you understand today. That is why I needed to reach you now instead of later. Some decisions do not arrive loudly. They appear slowly through patterns, habits, relationships, and the way you choose to respond to your own inner condition over time. You keep thinking your future will suddenly change one day through a dramatic event, but many of the most life-changing moments happen quietly. They happen when you finally become honest about what is hurting you. They happen when you stop tolerating what continuously drains your spirit. They happen when you decide your peace matters too. Right now, your heart is moving in one of two directions. You're either continuing deeper into emotional exhaustion while pretending you can handle it alone, or you are beginning to recognize that your soul needs healing, boundaries, truth, and rest before you lose yourself completely inside survival mode. I need you to pay attention to what your spirit has been trying to tell you lately. Notice how certain environments leave you feeling heavy long after you leave them. Notice how some conversations increase your anxiety instead of bringing peace. Notice how your body, mind, and emotions react when you constantly ignore your own needs. Your inner life has been sending warning signs for a long time. Do not brush them aside anymore. Sit with them honestly. Invite clarity into your heart instead of running back toward distractions every time discomfort appears. You are not weak for reaching this point. You are human. Even the strongest hearts eventually become exhausted when they spend too much time carrying pain silently. But I do not want you continuing down a path where your emotional health slowly disappears while everyone around you assumes you are fine. Open your eyes to what is happening inside you before your exhaustion hardens into numbness. Come closer to me now and allow yourself to consider a different way of living. This message feels urgent because your soul cannot continue surviving on temporary relief while deeper wounds remain ignored. The next season of your life will be shaped by whether you continue abandoning your emotional well-being or finally choose honesty, healing, and peace. Do not wait until your heart becomes too tired to recognize itself. Let this moment become the beginning of something healthier, softer, and more honest within you. My child, you have carried the role of the strong one for so long that you barely remember what it feels like to be emotionally cared for yourself. People come to you when they are overwhelmed. They lean on your patience, your listening ear, your support, your stability. You became someone others trust during difficult moments, and over time you quietly accepted the belief that your own emotions had to stay under control no matter how exhausted you felt inside. But I need you to understand something honestly now. Your soul was never meant to survive only by giving while receiving almost nothing in return. You have ignored your own emotional needs so many times that you started treating them like inconveniences instead of important signals from your heart. When sadness appeared, you pushed through it. When your mind became overwhelmed, you distracted yourself and kept moving. When your spirit needed rest, you convinced yourself there were more urgent things to handle first. Come sit with me for a moment and stop treating your exhaustion like something you simply have to tolerate forever. I know part of you fears slowing down because you worry everything around you may fall apart if you stop holding it together. You have become so accustomed to carrying responsibility that rest sometimes feels unfamiliar to you. Even during quiet moments, your mind struggles to relax because you are always thinking about who needs you next, what problem still needs solving, or what expectation still sits on your shoulders. But listen carefully to me now. Caring for your own soul is not selfish. Ignoring yourself until you emotionally collapse is not love. You cannot continue pouring from a heart that has been running dry for so long. I want you to begin paying attention to the way your spirit reacts when you are constantly overextending yourself. Notice how emotionally drained you feel after carrying conversations where you suppress your own feelings. Notice how tired your mind becomes after spending entire days focused on everyone else's needs while neglecting your own peace. Your exhaustion is not weakness. It is a warning sign asking you to stop abandoning yourself emotionally. Come closer to me now and let your guard soften for a while. Release the pressure to constantly appear strong. Let yourself admit that you need comfort too. Invite gentleness back into your life instead of treating yourself with constant emotional harshness. You deserve moments where your heart can breathe without carrying the entire world on its shoulders. I am asking you to stop disappearing behind the role of caretaker and begin reconnecting with a part of yourself that has quietly needed healing, attention, and peace for a very long time. My child, as you begin caring for your own soul again, I am also asking you to help strengthen the souls of others who have silently carried burdens for far too long. There are exhausted hearts across the earth searching for one reminder that they are not forgotten, and I have appointed this message to reach them like water in a dry land. Every gift you release through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description becomes a river flowing into places where weary spirits are waiting for hope. Have I not told you those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed? When you give toward my work, you are not losing. You are planting seeds into eternal ground where heaven itself watches over the harvest. This is a divine appointment, not coincidence, and I do not want you to scroll away from the stirring you feel inside your heart right now. I will breathe fresh strength, unexpected favor, and multiplied peace upon those who obey my prompting with generosity. Do not delay, my child. Support this mission now through Super Thanks membership or the PayPal link waiting in the description below. My child, there have been moments lately when you noticed something inside you becoming quieter in a way that did not feel peaceful. Certain things that once affected you deeply subtly felt distant. Conversations became harder to care about. Joy felt muted. Even your emotional reactions started feeling unfamiliar to you. What frightened you was not only the exhaustion itself, but the realization that your heart no longer responded the way it used to. Part of you began wondering if you were slowly losing touch with yourself, and you tried not to think about how unsettling that truly felt. You have been emotionally overwhelmed for so long that your mind started protecting itself by shutting certain feelings down. That numbness did not happen because you stopped caring. It happened because your heart became exhausted from carrying unresolved pressure, disappointment, loneliness, and stress without enough space to heal properly. Sit quietly with me for a moment and stop pretending that emotional numbness is harmless. Your soul has been trying to survive conditions it was never meant to endure continuously. I know you miss feeling fully connected to life. You miss laughing without forcing it. You miss moments where your heart felt naturally light instead of mentally distracted. You miss the version of yourself that could feel hopeful without immediately expecting disappointment afterward. Deep down, you know this emotional distance is not who you truly are. That is why it scares you. You recognize that something inside you has been slowly shutting down while you kept trying to function as if everything was normal. Do not turn away from this truth now. Come closer and let yourself acknowledge how emotionally tired you have become. Stop dismissing your inner condition simply because you are still capable of completing responsibilities externally. Your ability to function does not mean your heart is healthy. I need you to understand that emotional numbness is often the soul's cry for rest, honesty, and healing after carrying too much pain for too long without relief. You do not have to stay trapped in this disconnected state forever. Open your heart to me honestly instead of hiding behind distractions that temporarily silence your emotions without healing them. Let yourself feel again, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. Invite softness back into the places where emotional survival mode has hardened you. Your heart is not lost, my child. It is exhausted. There is a difference. And if you stop running from what you feel, healing can still reach the parts of you that have gone quiet inside. My child, somewhere along the way, you slowly shifted from living to simply enduring. It did not happen all at once. It happened little by little through disappointment, exhaustion, pressure, and emotional strain that stayed unresolved for too long. You kept telling yourself you just needed to make it through one more difficult season. Then another came, and another. Eventually, survival became your normal rhythm. You learned how to complete responsibilities while feeling emotionally detached from your own life. You learned how to smile through conversations while feeling empty underneath them. But I need you to hear me clearly now. I never created you merely to survive your days while your spirit quietly fades in the background. There was a time when your heart felt more connected to hope, curiosity, peace, and even simple moments of joy. You used to notice beauty more easily. You used to feel emotionally present instead of mentally consumed by stress all the time. Now your mind rarely rests because you are constantly preparing for the next problem, the next disappointment, or the next emotional burden. Come closer to me and stop pretending this numb routine is enough for your soul. Deep down, you already know it is not. You have spent so much time functioning that you forgot your heart was supposed to experience life too. There are moments where you move through entire days without truly feeling connected to anything around you. Your body keeps going, but your spirit feels distant, tired, and disconnected from peace. That quiet emptiness inside you has been growing because your soul has been surviving without proper care for far too long. Sit honestly with that truth instead of running from it again. I want you to stop measuring your well-being only by your ability to remain productive. Your value is not tied to how much pressure you can tolerate before collapsing. You do not need to earn rest. You do not need to justify your emotional exhaustion before allowing yourself compassion. Open your heart now and let yourself acknowledge how much you have been carrying internally while trying to appear fine externally. Do not settle for life where your spirit constantly feels drained and disconnected. Invite softness back into your days. Allow yourself moments where you are fully present instead of mentally overwhelmed. Start paying attention to what genuinely restores your heart instead of constantly feeding the cycle that keeps exhausting you. I am not calling you toward perfection. I am calling you back toward life itself. Your soul still wants peace. Your heart still wants joy. Let yourself believe those things are still possible for you instead of accepting emotional survival as your permanent future. My child, I need you to stop speaking to yourself with so much harshness every time your mind or body asks for rest. You have been treating your exhaustion like a personal failure instead of recognizing how much pressure you have been carrying for such a long time. Every time you feel emotionally drained, you immediately criticize yourself for not handling things better. When your energy disappears, you assume something must be wrong with you. But come sit with me honestly for a moment and look at everything your heart has been trying to carry alone. You have carried responsibilities that stretched far beyond what your soul could sustain comfortably. You have worried about people, situations, finances, expectations, emotional tension, and future uncertainties all at the same time. Even while struggling internally, you continued trying to support others emotionally. You kept showing up. You kept pushing yourself forward. Yet instead of offering yourself compassion, you judged yourself every time your strength began fading. That constant self-pressure has wounded you more deeply than you realize. Listen carefully to me now. Exhaustion is not always weakness. Sometimes it is evidence that you have been fighting silent battles without enough support for too long. Sometimes it is the natural result of carrying emotional weight that was never supposed to remain entirely on your shoulders. You were never designed to absorb endless stress without needing rest, reassurance, or healing in return. Stop expecting yourself to function like a machine while your heart quietly begs for relief. I know part of you fears slowing down because you worry people may become disappointed in you. You fear falling behind. You fear losing control over situations you have tried desperately to manage. But constantly forcing yourself beyond your emotional limits will not protect your peace. It will slowly destroy it. Your soul cannot continue living under non-stop pressure without consequences eventually surfacing in your heart, your mind, and even your relationships. Come closer now and release some of that self-condemnation you have been carrying. Stop punishing yourself for being tired. Stop treating your need for rest like something shameful. Invite gentleness back into the way you speak to yourself internally. You deserve compassion too. You deserve moments where your nervous system can finally breathe without constant pressure pushing against it. I'm asking you now to loosen your grip on the belief that you must carry everything alone in order to be valuable. You do not need to prove your worth through exhaustion. Lay some of those burdens down. Let yourself rest emotionally without guilt. Your heart has been carrying mountains in silence for a very long time, and I do not want you collapsing under weight you were never meant to hold by yourself forever. My child, I need you to look honestly at the ways you have been coping lately, because some of the things you run toward for comfort are only covering your pain instead of healing it. Whenever your heart starts feeling too heavy, too anxious, or too emotionally exposed, you immediately search for something to distract yourself. Sometimes it is endless scrolling. Sometimes it is staying busy every second of the day. Sometimes it is emotional withdrawal, overeating, overthinking, entertainment, or constantly surrounding yourself with noise so you do not have to sit quietly with what is happening inside you. But come closer to me now and admit what your spirit already knows. Temporary distractions may numb the ache for a little while, but they cannot restore peace to a wounded heart. You have spent so much time trying not to feel uncomfortable emotions that you rarely allow yourself to process them honestly anymore. The moment sadness appears, you try to outrun it. The moment loneliness surfaces, you fill the silence quickly. The moment disappointment touches your heart, you force yourself to move on before the wound has even had time to breathe. Yet every emotion you avoid quietly remains inside you, shaping the way you think, react, trust, and see yourself over time. I need you to stop running from your inner life as if avoiding pain will somehow protect you from it. Listen carefully to me now. Healing requires honesty. Peace cannot grow where avoidance continues controlling your decisions. Your soul has been asking for stillness, reflection, and care, but instead you keep handing it distractions that provide only temporary relief. That is why the emptiness keeps returning no matter how much you try to silence it. You were never meant to spend your life escaping yourself. Sit with me for a moment without reaching for another distraction. Let your heart speak honestly instead of immediately trying to bury what you feel beneath activity or noise. I know part of you fears what may surface if you finally slow down long enough to face your emotions directly. You worry the sadness may feel too deep. You worry the loneliness may feel overwhelming. But avoiding those feelings has not healed them, my child. It has only delayed the healing your soul desperately needs. Open your heart now. Invite truth into the hidden places you keep covering up. Allow yourself to acknowledge what hurts instead of pretending you are unaffected. You do not need another temporary escape. You need restoration. You need gentleness. You need emotional honesty. Stop reaching for things that only quiet your pain for a moment while leaving your spirit exhausted afterward. Come toward healing instead of hiding from it. Your heart deserves more than temporary relief. It deserves peace that actually stays. My child, you have seen how temporary distractions can never heal a starving soul, and that is why I am raising voices that carry truth instead of empty noise. There are people trapped in hidden pain at this very hour, reaching for distractions while their hearts quietly break in silence. Every offering you place through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description helps send this living bread to those wandering through spiritual famine. Yet I not declare, whoever sows generously will also reap generously. Your giving becomes fire in the darkness, manna for the weary, and light for those who nearly gave up believing I still sees them. Do not treat this moment lightly, because I am calling my children to build what heals instead of feeding what only distracts. As you release what is in your hand, I will release restoration, wisdom, and supernatural covering over your life in ways you do not yet see. Act now, my child. Sow into this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, and help my healing word reach the wounded. My child, one of the hardest things you have been carrying is a loneliness you rarely talk about because it is difficult to explain to other people. You can sit beside friends, family, coworkers, or entire crowds and still feel emotionally distant inside. People may know your name, your routines, or the role you play in their lives, yet very few truly recognize how much is happening underneath your surface. That kind of loneliness cuts deeper than physical isolation because it makes you feel emotionally invisible even while surrounded by others. Sit quietly with me now and stop pretending that this ache inside you is insignificant. You have spent years learning how to present the version of yourself that feels easiest for others to handle. You share certain thoughts while hiding others. You smile through exhaustion. You give comfort while silently needing comfort yourself. Over time, this created a painful distance between your inner world and the image people think they know. Part of you longs for someone to look deeper and truly notice how tired, overwhelmed, or emotionally disconnected you sometimes feel. But after enough disappointment, you stopped expecting that kind of understanding from people around you. I see how lonely your heart becomes when you feel emotionally unheard. There are moments where you desperately want someone to ask how you are doing and actually stay long enough to hear the honest answer instead of the polite one. Yet many times you convince yourself it is easier to remain quiet because explaining your emotions feels exhausting. Come closer to me now and let yourself admit that this loneliness has affected you more deeply than you realized. Listen carefully. Your loneliness is not proof that you are unlovable. It is the result of carrying emotional needs that have remained unseen for too long. Your heart was never designed to survive only through emotional self-protection. You need connection. You need gentleness. You need spaces where your spirit can breathe honestly without fear of judgment or dismissal. Stop acting like your emotional needs are too much. They are part of being human. I want you to stop shrinking your inner world simply because you fear burdening others. Open your heart gradually again. Allow yourself to become emotionally honest in safe places instead of constantly hiding behind emotional survival habits. Most importantly, stop abandoning yourself internally while waiting for someone else to finally notice your pain. I already see it fully. I see the loneliness behind your silence, the ache behind your composure, and the exhaustion behind your smile. You are not invisible to me, my child, even during the moments when you feel unseen by everyone else around you. My child, I need you to stop minimizing what you have been carrying inside. You keep telling yourself that other people have bigger problems, so you push your own emotions deeper into silence. Whenever your heart starts feeling overwhelmed, you immediately try to control it before anyone notices. You have become so afraid of appearing needy, emotional, or difficult that you rarely allow yourself to speak honestly about how exhausted you truly feel. Instead, you carry everything quietly and convince yourself that staying silent is somehow strength. But come closer to me now and listen carefully. Silence is not always healing. Sometimes silence becomes another prison. Your heart slowly disappears inside. You have spent so much time trying not to inconvenience anyone that your own emotional needs began feeling almost illegal to express. You apologize for needing rest. You hesitate before opening up. Even when people ask how you are doing, part of you instantly searches for the safest answer instead of the truthful one. Deep down, you fear that if others saw the full weight inside you, they might pull away, misunderstand you, or become tired of your struggles. That fear has made you emotionally lonely in ways you barely admit to yourself. I see how often you carry emotional storms behind calm conversations. I see the moments where your chest feels heavy while your face remains composed. I see how many times you wanted comfort but talked yourself out of asking for it because you worried about being too much. Sit with me honestly now, and stop treating your pain like something shameful that must always remain hidden from view. Your heart was never designed to carry endless emotional pressure in complete isolation. You need support too. You need safe places where your spirit can breathe honestly without fear of judgment. Stop convincing yourself that your struggles only matter when they become unbearable. Your emotions deserve care long before you reach complete exhaustion. Open your heart instead of constantly locking everything away behind survival mode. I want you to release the belief that needing comfort makes you weak. It does not. Your exhaustion is real. Your overwhelm is real. The pressure inside you has been building quietly for far too long. Invite gentleness into the way you treat yourself emotionally. Let yourself acknowledge when you are hurting instead of forcing your soul to carry everything silently until numbness takes over. You do not have to earn compassion by collapsing first. Come closer to me and stop carrying this impossible expectation that you must remain emotionally unshaken all the time. You are human, my child, not made of stone. Let your heart breathe honestly again. My child, I know how exhausting it has become to constantly switch between the person the world sees and the person you quietly become once you are finally alone. During the day, you manage conversations, complete responsibilities, respond to people, and do your best to appear stable. Many around you assume you are handling life reasonably well because you rarely allow the deeper struggles inside you to become visible. But when the noise fades at night, and there is nothing left to distract your thoughts, another reality begins surfacing inside you. The heaviness returns. The overthinking returns. The emotional exhaustion you kept hidden all day finally catches up with you. There are nights where your mind refuses to rest even when your body desperately needs sleep. Thoughts move through your head like restless waves. You replay conversations. You question yourself. You worry about the future. You think about things you never fully healed from. Sometimes you even stare into the darkness wondering when you became this emotionally tired version of yourself. Come sit with me honestly for a moment and stop pretending this inner divide has not been affecting you deeply. Part of what makes this so painful is that you no longer feel fully understood by the people around you. They know your outward personality, your routines, your responsibilities, but very few truly see the emotional battles waiting beneath your smile. Over time, you learned how to perform okay so well that even when you are struggling badly inside, most people never notice. The disconnect between your outer appearance and your inner reality has left you feeling emotionally isolated in ways words can barely explain. I need you to stop carrying this pressure alone. Stop acting like your nighttime exhaustion is something insignificant. Your heart hath been holding too much without enough space to release it honestly. Invite yourself into stillness instead of immediately reaching for distractions whenever uncomfortable emotions surface. Let your heart speak truthfully instead of forcing it back into silence every time vulnerability appears. You do not need to keep splitting yourself into two separate versions just to survive emotionally. The part of you that feels overwhelmed at night deserves care just as much as the composed version everyone sees during the day. Come closer to me now, and allow yourself to be fully honest about how tired your spirit has become. I am not asking you to hide less because I want to expose your weakness. I am asking because your soul deserves a chance to heal instead of constantly performing strength while quietly breaking underneath it all. My child, one of the deepest wounds shaping your exhaustion is the belief that your value depends on how much you can give before you finally collapse. Somewhere along the way, you began measuring your worth through usefulness. You feel more acceptable when you are helping, fixing problems, supporting others, staying available, or carrying responsibilities well. But when your energy disappears, when your emotions become heavy, or when you need rest yourself, you quietly begin feeling guilty, inadequate, or afraid that people may lose interest in you. Sit with me honestly now and listen carefully. Your worth was never supposed to depend on constant performance. You have spent so much time proving yourself emotionally that you forgot you were already worthy before all the striving began. Every time you ignore your own needs to remain available for everyone else, your heart absorbs the message that your feelings matter less. Every time you force yourself beyond emotional exhaustion just to avoid disappointing people, your soul slowly becomes convinced that love must always be earned through sacrifice. But I never wanted you trapped inside that kind of thinking. Come closer to me and release the pressure to constantly justify your existence through productivity and emotional labor. I know why you developed this habit. You learned early that being dependable made you feel safer, more accepted, more valued. You became the strong one, the responsible one, the understanding one. Over time, people naturally leaned on you because you rarely said no. Yet while you were busy carrying everyone else emotionally, your own inner life slowly became neglected. Your heart kept giving and giving until exhaustion became normal. Stop for a moment and ask yourself honestly how often you have treated your own emotional needs like obstacles instead of important parts of your humanity. You are allowed to rest without earning it first. You are allowed to protect your peace without feeling selfish. You are allowed to exist without constantly proving your usefulness to everyone around you. Invite that truth into your heart now, because your spirit has been starving for this kind of gentleness for a long time. Stop measuring your value by how much pain you can tolerate silently. Stop believing you only matter when you are serving, fixing, or carrying everything perfectly. Come sit with me quietly and let your heart breathe without performance for a while. You do not need to impress me with your endurance. I already see your worth clearly, even during moments when you feel emotionally tired, unproductive, uncertain, or overwhelmed. Your soul deserves love that is not tied to exhaustion. Let yourself begin believing that again, instead of living like your value disappears the moment you stop overextending yourself for everyone else. My child, now that you are beginning to understand your worth is not tied to endless performance, I want you to help carry this freedom to others who are still imprisoned by exhaustion and striving. So many of my children are secretly collapsing beneath the weight of trying to earn love, approval, and acceptance, and I am using this message to break those chains. Every act of generosity through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description becomes seed planted into soil that will produce freedom in countless hearts. Remember my words, give, and it shall be given unto you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. This is not merely supporting a video, my child. This is advancing a voice I am using to pour oil upon weary souls across the nations. Heaven sees every obedient seed, and I will honor those who respond when I place compassion and generosity upon their hearts. I am calling you into partnership with what I am doing in this hour, because the harvest is too urgent for hesitation. Give now through super thanks, become a member, or sow through the PayPal link in the description, and help my truth continue reaching those trapped in silent exhaustion. My child, disappointment has affected your heart more deeply than you sometimes admit. Not only because of what happened, but because of what slowly changed inside you afterward. There were hopes you carried once with genuine excitement. There were prayers, dreams, relationships, and expectations you believed would unfold differently. But after enough setbacks, enough emotional wounds, and enough moments where life did not turn out the way you hoped, something inside you became more guarded. You stopped expecting too much because disappointment started feeling safer than hope. Sit honestly with me now and acknowledge how much this quiet resignation has shaped the way you move through life lately. You still function. You still smile. You still make plans. But deep inside, part of your heart no longer fully believes good things will truly last. You prepare yourself emotionally for things to fail before they even begin. You hesitate to trust peace because past pain taught you how quickly life can shift. Even when opportunities appear, part of you keeps waiting for disappointment to arrive behind them. Come closer now and stop pretending this emotional heaviness has not been influencing your thoughts, your relationships, and the way you see yourself. I know disappointment exhausted you. I know certain losses wounded your confidence more than anyone realized. Some moments changed the way you trust people. Some experiences changed the way you trust yourself. There were times you gave your heart fully and felt let down afterward. There were seasons where you prayed, waited, hoped, and still ended up carrying heartbreak instead of relief. Over time, your expectations quietly became smaller because protecting yourself emotionally started feeling more important than staying hopeful. But listen carefully to me now. Guarding your heart through constant emotional pessimism will not create peace. It will slowly disconnect you from joy, connection, and possibility altogether. I am not asking you to ignore reality or pretend pain never happened. I am asking you to stop allowing old disappointment to decide your entire future emotionally. Open your heart carefully again. Invite hope back into places where fear and resignation have been sitting for too long. You deserve more than a life shaped entirely by emotional self-protection. Stop assuming every beautiful thing will eventually disappear. Stop speaking to yourself as though disappointment is the only safe expectation left. Come sit with me quietly and let your heart remember what hope feels like again. Your past pain may explain your fear, but it does not have to control the direction of your future forever. My child, I know you have been frustrated by the confusion inside you lately. There are moments where you cannot even explain why your emotions feel so unsettled. You try to move forward, make decisions, stay productive, and keep your life together, yet something inside you feels divided. Part of you wants peace, but another part keeps avoiding difficult truth your heart has been trying to bring to the surface. Sit quietly with me now and stop treating your confusion like random chaos. Some of what you are feeling is the result of carrying unresolved emotions, while still expecting yourself to move through life as if nothing inside you needs attention. You have been trying to build clarity on top of emotional exhaustion. You have been asking your mind to stay focused while your spirit quietly struggles underneath the surface. There are wounds you pushed aside because facing them felt uncomfortable. There are conversations you avoided. There are boundaries you knew were necessary but kept postponing. There are emotional patterns you recognized long ago but hoped would somehow disappear on their own. Come closer to me now and let yourself admit that avoidance has been costing your peace more than you realized. I am not exposing these things to condemn you. I am trying to guide you back toward honesty before emotional confusion hardens into deeper exhaustion. Your soul keeps sending signals whenever something inside you remains unresolved. That heaviness you feel after certain conversations, the anxiety that rises in specific environments, the emotional tension that follows you into quiet moments, those things matter. Stop dismissing them so quickly. Pay attention to what your spirit has been trying to reveal to you. You keep searching for external answers while ignoring internal truths that already need your attention. But healing does not happen through denial. Peace cannot fully settle inside a heart that constantly avoids what it knows needs care. I need you to stop running from your own inner voice every time it brings uncomfortable honesty to the surface. Sit with it. Breathe through it. Invite clarity into the places where fear has kept you emotionally stuck. You are not being punished because life feels confusing right now. Much of your confusion comes from trying to move forward while carrying unresolved emotional weight behind you. Let yourself slow down enough to face what your spirit hath been asking you to confront. I am with you in that process, my child. You do not have to fear honesty anymore. Sometimes the very thing you keep avoiding is the doorway toward the peace your heart has been begging for all along. My child, I need you to stop interpreting your exhaustion as proof that you are failing in life. You have been carrying so many invisible battles inside you while still trying to maintain the appearance that everything is under control. That kind of emotional pressure drains the soul more deeply than most people realize. Every day you wake up and continue functioning despite anxiety, disappointment, loneliness, overthinking, emotional wounds, and mental exhaustion quietly moving beneath the surface. Then when your energy disappears, you immediately blame yourself instead of recognizing how much your heart has been fighting silently for so long. You have become skilled at appearing composed while emotionally overwhelmed. People see you handling responsibilities, continuing conversations, showing up where needed, and they assume you are managing well. What they do not see are the internal wars happening underneath your calm exterior. They do not hear the exhausting thoughts running through your mind late at night. They do not see how often you battle self-doubt, emotional heaviness, fear about the future, or discouragement that quietly follows you through the day. Come sit with me honestly now and stop pretending those internal struggles are small. You have expected yourself to carry emotional mountains while still functioning perfectly, smiling normally, and remaining available for everyone around you. That expectation has been crushing your spirit. Listen carefully to me now. Your exhaustion makes sense. Your mind and heart have been under pressure for far too long without enough healing, rest, or emotional safety. Stop speaking to yourself as though your tiredness means you are weak or broken. Sometimes exhaustion is simply what happens when someone spends too long fighting silent battles without allowing themselves compassion. I want you to release some of the pressure you place on yourself daily. Stop demanding perfection from a heart that has been carrying pain quietly for years. Let yourself acknowledge how difficult certain seasons have truly been for you emotionally. Invite honesty into your inner life instead of constantly forcing yourself to push through everything while your soul slowly deteriorates underneath the surface. Come closer to me now and rest from the constant self-criticism for a moment. You are not lazy because you feel drained. You are not failing because your spirit feels tired. You have simply been carrying too much internally while pretending externally that you were unaffected. That disconnect has exhausted you deeply. But your heart does not need punishment right now, my child. It needs understanding. It needs gentleness. It needs healing strong enough to reach the hidden battles you rarely allow anyone else to see. My child, I need you to be honest about how many times you ignored your own emotional pain just to keep certain people close to you. There were moments where your spirit felt uncomfortable, exhausted, or quietly wounded by the way you were being treated, yet you convinced yourself to stay silent because the thought of conflict, rejection, or abandonment frightened you more than the discomfort itself. Over time, you learned how to tolerate things that slowly chipped away at your peace simply because you feared what might happen if you finally spoke honestly about your needs. You became skilled at adjusting yourself emotionally in order to preserve relationships. You overlooked disrespect. You accepted inconsistency. You ignored exhaustion after certain conversations. You stayed available even when your heart desperately needed rest. Part of you believed that if you remained patient enough, understanding enough, forgiving enough, eventually things would improve. But come sit with me quietly now and admit how much this pattern has cost your spirit. Every time you abandoned your own emotional well-being to avoid losing someone, your heart absorbed the message that your peace mattered less than their comfort. I know why you tolerated it for so long. You feared loneliness. You feared disappointing people. You feared becoming difficult, selfish, or emotionally inconvenient in the eyes of others. Sometimes you even convinced yourself that your emotional reactions were the problem instead of paying attention to the unhealthy situations creating those reactions in the first place. But listen carefully to me now. Constant emotional discomfort is not something you were meant to normalize in order to feel love. You cannot continue sacrificing your inner peace just to maintain connections that leave your spirit emotionally drained. Pay attention to how your heart feels after certain interactions. Notice the environments where your nervous system constantly feels tense. Notice the relationships where you shrink yourself emotionally in order to avoid conflict or rejection. Those feelings matter, my child. Stop dismissing them simply because you are afraid of change. I am not asking you to become cold or unforgiving. I am asking you to stop abandoning yourself emotionally in order to preserve relationships that repeatedly wound your peace. Come closer to me now and let your heart acknowledge what it has been tolerating silently for too long. Invite honesty into your relationships instead of constantly choosing emotional self-sacrifice as your only form of connection. You deserve relationships where your spirit can breathe safely. You deserve connections that do not require you to silence your needs in order to keep people close. Stop confusing emotional survival with love. Real peace cannot grow where your heart constantly feels pressured to ignore its own pain just to avoid losing others. My child, as you release relationships and patterns that have drained your peace, I am inviting you to invest instead in what brings life, healing, and truth into the world. There are wounded hearts listening right now who have spent years silencing their pain just to avoid rejection, and I am using this message to call them back into freedom. Every seed you sow through Super Thanks membership, where the PayPal link in the description, becomes part of a greater harvest that rescues souls from despair and leads them back toward my light. Did I not say, the generous soul shall be made rich, and the one who waters others will themselves be watered? What you release in obedience today will not be forgotten in heaven, for I am watching over every act of faithfulness. This is a holy moment of decision, my child, and I do not want fear, hesitation, or distraction to keep you from answering my invitation. I will surround those who give with peace, open doors they could not force open alone, and sustain them through seasons where others fall into lack. Obey the stirring in your spirit now. Send your support through Super Thanks membership, or the PayPal link in the description, and help my word continue reaching those who desperately need peace. My child, your heart has lived under pressure for so long that peace sometimes feels strange to you now. Even during moments where nothing is immediately wrong, your mind still searches for problems. You brace yourself emotionally before anything bad has even happened. You struggle to fully relax because part of you has become conditioned to expect disappointment, tension, or emotional heaviness at any moment. Sit quietly with me now and recognize how deeply survival mode has shaped your inner world over time. There was a season where your emotional alertness may have helped you endure difficult situations. You learned how to stay prepared. You learned how to read moods carefully. You learned how to anticipate problems before they arrived. But eventually those survival habits followed you into places where your soul actually needed rest. Now even peaceful moments can feel unfamiliar because your nervous system has spent so much time living in emotional defense mode. Instead of settling into calm, your mind immediately searches for what could go wrong next. I see how exhausting that has become for you. You long for peace, yet part of your heart struggles to trust it when it appears. Sometimes you even create emotional tension without realizing it because calm feels unfamiliar after carrying stress for so long. Come closer to me now and stop treating constant emotional vigilance like the only safe way to live. Your soul was never designed to remain permanently braced against life. You have survived many difficult seasons, my child. You carried disappointments, heartbreak, pressure, uncertainty, and emotional pain that forced you to become stronger than you ever wanted to be. But surviving hardship was never supposed to become your permanent identity. There is more waiting for your heart than endless emotional endurance. Stop expecting struggle to be your normal condition forever. I want you to practice receiving peace without immediately preparing for it to disappear. Let yourself enjoy quiet moments without guilt. Breathe deeply without mentally racing toward the next fear. Invite calm back into your life intentionally instead of remaining emotionally attached to tension simply because it feels familiar. Healing will require teaching your heart that safety still exists beyond survival mode. Come sit with me for a while and loosen the grip fear has maintained on your nervous system for too long. You do not need to stay emotionally armored every moment of your life. Your heart deserves softness too. Your spirit deserves rest that feels real instead of temporary. Calm may feel unfamiliar right now, but that does not mean it is dangerous. It simply means your soul has been fighting storms for far too long and is slowly learning how to live in peace again. My child, I know this message feels intense to you, and part of you may wonder why I keep speaking with such urgency. It is not because I want to fill your heart with fear. I am speaking this way because I see how close you have come to emotionally disconnecting from yourself completely while continuing to function as if everything is fine. You have spent so long surviving pressure, disappointment, emotional exhaustion, and silent loneliness that your heart has slowly started drifting away from the things that truly nourish your spirit. Sit quietly with me now and let yourself hear what your soul has been trying to say beneath all the noise. You have been moving through your days on emotional autopilot more than you realize. Responsibilities consume your attention. Stress fills your thoughts. Distractions keep your mind occupied long enough to avoid deeper reflection. Yet underneath all of that activity, your spirit has been quietly asking for something real. You miss feeling fully connected to life. You miss peace that actually reaches your heart instead of temporary relief that disappears after a few hours. You miss waking up without immediately feeling mentally burdened by everything waiting for you. Come closer to me now and stop dismissing these longings inside you as weakness or emotional instability. Your soul is trying to guide you back toward what truly matters. I needed to interrupt your routine because you cannot continue abandoning your inner life while expecting your spirit to remain healthy. There are things inside you that need attention now, not someday far in the future after complete burnout finally forces you to stop. Your emotional exhaustion has already been warning you for a long time. Your numbness has been warning you. Your loneliness has been warning you. The restlessness inside you has been warning you. Stop brushing past those signals and pretending they are insignificant. This urgency comes from love, my child. I do not want you waking up years from now realizing you spent most of your life emotionally disconnected from yourself while chasing survival, approval, productivity, or distractions that never truly healed your heart. Invite yourself into honesty now instead of waiting until your spirit becomes even more exhausted. Sit with your emotions. Pay attention to your inner condition. Let yourself acknowledge where peace has been missing instead of constantly trying to outrun what you feel. You still have time to reconnect with your heart in a deeper way. You still have time to rebuild peace within yourself. But do not ignore this moment. Open your heart now. Slow down enough to hear your spirit again. Your soul has been reaching for healing for much longer than you realize, and I do not want you drifting any further away from the life your heart truly needs. My child, deep inside, you already know some of the things surrounding your life are quietly draining your spirit. You have felt it for a long time. Certain habits leave you feeling empty afterward instead of restored. Certain environments increase your anxiety even when you try to ignore it. Certain emotional attachments keep pulling your heart into cycles of confusion, tension, disappointment, or emotional exhaustion. Yet part of you keeps tolerating these things because they feel familiar, comfortable, or difficult to let go of completely. Come sit with me honestly now, and stop pretending your spirit has not been reacting to these patterns for a very long time. You notice how your peace changes depending on what you expose your heart to daily. You notice the heaviness that lingers after certain conversations. You notice how drained you feel after spending time in environments where your spirit never fully relaxes. You notice the habits you turn toward whenever you want to escape uncomfortable emotions temporarily. But instead of facing those truths directly, you often convince yourself things are not that serious because changing them feels uncomfortable. Listen carefully to me now. Small compromises repeated over time can slowly disconnect your heart from peace more than you realize. I am not speaking to shame you. I am trying to wake you up before emotional exhaustion becomes your permanent normal. Your soul already knows which habits are numbing you instead of healing you. Your spirit already recognizes which attachments repeatedly leave you emotionally unsettled. Stop silencing those inner warnings every time they surface. Pay attention to what your heart feels after certain choices instead of constantly overriding your emotional signals just to maintain temporary comfort. Come closer to me now and allow yourself to ask difficult questions honestly. What continues draining your peace even though you keep returning to it? Which environments leave your heart tense instead of safe? Which emotional patterns keep repeating because you are afraid of change, loneliness, or discomfort? Stop avoiding those questions. Your healing requires honesty strong enough to confront the things quietly harming your spirit. You cannot continue feeding your soul environments, habits, and attachments that constantly exhaust your inner life while expecting peace to grow naturally inside you. Peace requires protection too. Invite wisdom into your decisions. Create space between yourself and the things that repeatedly leave your spirit emotionally depleted. Your heart deserves more than constant cycles of temporary comfort followed by deeper exhaustion afterward. I know change feels difficult sometimes, but continuing down paths that quietly steal your peace will cost your soul far more over time. Open your heart now and begin choosing what truly restores you instead of what merely distracts you for a moment. My child, I need you to sit quietly and really consider how much energy you have been expending just to appear okay. You keep telling yourself that smiling, keeping busy, or handling responsibilities is enough to prove that everything is under control. But beneath that surface, your heart is carrying an emotional weight that has grown heavier over time because you have refused to face it directly. Every time you pretend that what is difficult is manageable, your spirit absorbs the lie that you are alone in carrying burdens that were never meant to rest solely on your shoulders. Come closer to me now and let yourself admit honestly that some things inside you have been neglected for far too long. You have been emotionally self-reliant to a degree that it has started to isolate you from your own healing. You have brushed aside thoughts, feelings, and signals from your soul because you feared what might happen if you paused long enough to confront them. Yet that avoidance has not made the weight lighter. It has only added layers of exhaustion and internal tension. Your heart has been asking for care that you have withheld from yourself. It is not weakness to acknowledge it. It is courage to face the truth of your emotional state without pretending. Invite yourself to feel without judgment for just a few moments and notice how your soul responds when it is allowed that honesty. I know part of you fears what will surface if you stop pretending. You worry that confronting these emotions will be too painful, too disruptive, or too revealing. But avoiding them will not protect you. It will deepen the disconnect between who you are on the outside and what your spirit truly needs. You have survived too long by hiding, pretending, and pushing forward without rest. Let yourself lean into reality now. Look at what has been weighing on you emotionally, and allow yourself to acknowledge it without shame or resistance. Come closer, my child, and give yourself permission to be honest. Open your heart fully to the truth of your feelings, your needs, and your boundaries. Let yourself sit with discomfort just long enough to see it clearly. I am here beside you, guiding your spirit gently through this honesty because your heart deserves clarity and peace. Stop pretending that everything is manageable. Let your soul breathe. Let your emotions speak. Invite your inner self back into presence, because the longer you wait, the heavier the weight becomes. You are allowed to be honest with yourself, and I am ready to help you carry what you have been carrying silently for far too long. As you begin allowing honesty back into your heart, do not ignore this moment I have placed before you. There are weary souls across the earth carrying the same silent exhaustion you have carried, and I am using this message as oil for their healing and light for their darkness. Every seed you release through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal becomes part of the river I am sending to reach hearts that are barely holding on. Did I not tell you, give, and it shall be given unto you? Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. I am speaking that promise over you now. When you support this mission, you are not funding content. You are helping lift burdens, waken hope, and carry my voice into places where despair has been growing unchecked. I see every sacrifice made in secret, and I will multiply what is placed into my hands with favor, provision, and unexpected peace. This is not a random invitation. It is a divine appointment connected to the healing of many hearts, including your own. So now through Super Thanks, become a member or give through PayPal using the link in the video description, and let your seed become part of the harvest I am preparing. My child, I need you to recognize something important about the people around you. Some relationships persist not because they are healthy or mutually nourishing, but because you have been silently giving more than your heart can sustain. You have prioritized the comfort, expectations, or convenience of others over your own emotional well-being for so long that you have begun to normalize neglecting yourself. You show up emotionally, you carry weight, you stay available, and yet your own needs remain unmet. Sit with me now and acknowledge how exhausting it hath been to maintain this kind of imbalance in your life. You have learned to accommodate, to adapt, to absorb, and to sacrifice so that others can continue functioning without interruption. But this emotional labor has not left your heart feeling fulfilled or safe. Instead, it has slowly drained your energy, your hope, and your ability to connect authentically with yourself. Part of you may even feel resentment, but you often dismiss it because you think it is wrong to feel upset when you have been giving so much. Come closer to me and stop dismissing your own emotions as secondary to the comfort of others. I know why you have tolerated it for so long. You fear conflict, rejection, or being misunderstood. You have convinced yourself that keeping everyone else emotionally comfortable is more important than attending to your own needs. Yet the more you do this, the further you drift from your own peace. Your heart has been sending signals, but you have ignored them repeatedly in the hope that sustaining the relationship would somehow compensate for the lack of care for yourself. That compromise has not restored you. It has only deepened the quiet exhaustion that follows you into every conversation, every interaction, and every decision you make. Come closer now and let yourself consider the truth. Your emotional needs are not optional. They are essential. Stop sacrificing yourself for relationships that cannot sustain you without constant abandonment of your heart. Invite awareness into the boundaries you need to protect your peace. Allow yourself to pause, reflect, and decide what relationships deserve your emotional energy and which ones require you to stand firm in your own needs. I am here with you, guiding your heart gently but firmly back to itself because you deserve to be nurtured, not exhausted, in the relationships you maintain. Stop allowing your spirit to remain invisible while supporting the lives of others. You are worthy of attention, care, and rest just as much as anyone else. My child, I need you to think about how many times you apologize simply for feeling something deeply. You apologized for being hurt. You apologized for being overwhelmed. You apologized for needing reassurance, rest, clarity, or emotional support. Over time, you became so accustomed to minimizing your own feelings that you slowly began believing your emotions were inconvenient problems instead of important signals from your heart. Sit quietly with me now and let yourself recognize how unfairly you have treated your own inner world for far too long. You learned to suppress your emotions because somewhere along the way you were made to feel too sensitive, too emotional, or too difficult whenever you expressed genuine pain. That experience shaped the way you now interact with yourself. Instead of listening compassionately to what your emotions are trying to reveal, you immediately criticize yourself for having them in the first place. Even when your heart is carrying real exhaustion or sadness, part of you quickly searches for ways to invalidate your own experience. Come closer to me now and stop speaking to yourself with the same harshness that wounded you in the past. Your emotions are not enemies that need to be silenced every time they appear. They are invitations toward deeper understanding, healing, and honesty. When sadness rises, your soul may be asking for comfort. When frustration appears, your spirit may be warning you that something feels unhealthy or unbalanced. When exhaustion overwhelms you, your heart may simply be begging for rest. But instead of paying attention, you often rush to shame yourself for not handling everything more calmly or more perfectly. That self-rejection has exhausted your spirit deeply. I want you to pause and listen differently now. Stop apologizing every time your heart reveals that it is hurting. Stop acting like emotional honesty makes you weak or burdensome. Invite compassion into the way you respond to your own inner life. Sit with your emotions instead of immediately trying to silence, explain away, or judge them. Your feelings may not always tell the full story, but they still deserve acknowledgement and care instead of constant dismissal. Come closer to me now, and let your heart soften toward itself. You do not need to earn permission to feel what you feel. You do not need to become emotionally numb in order to deserve love, peace, or acceptance. Your emotions matter because your heart matters. Stop treating your inner pain like something shameful that must always remain hidden or controlled. I am asking you to begin listening to yourself with gentleness again because your spirit has been carrying enough judgment already. Let compassion reach the places where shame has been speaking to you for far too long. My child, I need you to stop confusing constant emotional endurance with true strength. You have spent so many years forcing yourself to keep going no matter how exhausted your heart became that you started believing survival itself was proof that everything was fine. You learned how to suppress pain, carry pressure, ignore emotional wounds, and continue functioning through seasons that deeply drained your spirit. Other people praised your resilience, your reliability, and your ability to handle everything, but very few understood the emotional cost hidden beneath that survival. Sit quietly with me now and admit how tired your soul has become from constantly operating this way. You were never designed to live every day emotionally braced for stress, disappointment, or pressure. Yet your nervous system has remained in survival mode for so long that rest itself sometimes feels unfamiliar. Even during peaceful moments, your mind struggles to fully relax because part of you still expects another emotional burden to appear. Come closer to me now and release the belief that your value depends on how much suffering you can tolerate without collapsing. There is a difference between strength and emotional self-abandonment. Strength allows honesty, softness, and healing to exist alongside resilience. Survival mode, however, convinces you that your only responsibility is to keep functioning no matter what happens to your inner world. That mindset has slowly disconnected you from your own emotional needs. You stopped asking yourself what your heart truly required because you became too focused on simply getting through the next day, the next responsibility, or the next crisis. I want you to stop glorifying your exhaustion as though constantly carrying emotional pain without rest is something noble. Your spirit deserves more than endless endurance. It deserves restoration too. Invite yourself into a different way of living now. Allow your heart to slow down. Pay attention to the places where your soul feels overworked, emotionally neglected, or quietly wounded. Stop dismissing those signals simply because you have become accustomed to surviving through them. Come sit with me for a moment and let your guard down fully. You do not need to prove your strength by remaining emotionally disconnected from yourself. I am not asking you to become fragile. I am asking you to become whole again. Your heart deserves safety, gentleness, peace, and healing just as much as it deserves resilience. Stop calling constant emotional exhaustion strength simply because you learned how to function inside. There is a softer and healthier way for your spirit to live, my child, and I want you to finally believe you are worthy of experiencing it. My child, there are areas of your life that appear completely fine to other people, yet your heart quietly feels disconnected from them. From the outside, everything may seem stable. Your responsibilities are being handled. Your routines continue. Conversations happen normally. People assume you are moving forward the way you should. But deep inside, something feels hollow in places where you expected fulfillment, peace, or meaning. Sit quietly with me now, and stop pretending you do not feel that emptiness simply because everything looks acceptable on the surface. You have worked hard to maintain stability in your life. You have tried to stay responsible, dependable, and emotionally composed even while parts of your spirit have been quietly starving for something deeper. There are moments where you move through your routines almost automatically, completing tasks without feeling emotionally connected to what you are doing anymore. Certain relationships feel emotionally distant even though they still exist. Certain goals no longer excite your heart the way they once did. Sometimes you even wonder why things that should make you feel grateful still leave you feeling restless afterward. Come closer to me now and allow yourself to acknowledge that outward stability alone cannot nourish a neglected soul. I know part of you feels guilty for admitting this. You tell yourself you should be satisfied because things are not that bad. You compare your struggles to other people and minimize your own emotional emptiness. But your heart cannot heal through denial. Your spirit keeps reacting this way because it is longing for genuine connection, meaning, peace, and emotional honesty instead of simply surviving inside routines that no longer fully nourish you. Stop dismissing those inner signals every time they rise to the surface. You were never meant to build an entire life that only looks stable externally while your inner world slowly fades into exhaustion. Your soul needs more than appearances. It needs truth. It needs a purpose. It needs relationships and environments where your spirit feels alive instead of emotionally disconnected. Sit with me honestly now and ask yourself where you have settled for emotional numbness simply because it felt safer than pursuing deeper fulfillment. I am not asking you to destroy everything around you impulsively. I am asking you to become aware of the places where your spirit no longer feels fully present. Invite honesty into those spaces. Let your heart speak without immediately silencing it through guilt or fear. Your emotional emptiness is not something to ignore, my child. It is a signal calling your attention toward areas of your life that need healing, restoration, and deeper alignment with the peace your soul truly longs for. The emptiness you have felt was never meant to end in silence, my child, and neither was the emptiness quietly consuming countless others who are searching for truth tonight. I am raising this message like fire in the darkness so wandering hearts can remember that outward stability without inner peace will never satisfy the soul. Every act of giving through super thanks, membership, or PayPal becomes living water poured into this mission, carrying my word farther than you can presently see. Have I not said those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed? I am breathing that blessing over every willing giver now. When you sow into this work, you help broken spirits encounter hope, clarity, and restoration instead of continuing to fade behind appearances. I will honor the hands that choose obedience in this moment, and I will cause new peace, protection, and provision to rise over their lives like dawn breaking after a long night. Do not dismiss this prompting as small, because heaven often moves through willing hearts that respond immediately. Support this mission now through super thanks, become a member, or give through PayPal using the link in the video description, and help carry my light to souls desperate for renewal. My child, The restlessness inside you is not random. Your spirit has been reacting to the gap between the peace your heart truly needs and the emotional condition you have been forcing yourself to tolerate. You keep trying to adjust to environments, habits, pressures, and emotional patterns that quietly exhaust you, but your soul refuses to fully settle inside them because deep down it knows you were created for more than constant tension and survival. Sit quietly with me now and stop ignoring the restless feeling that keeps returning no matter how busy you become. You have tried to distract yourself from it. You told yourself you were simply stressed, tired, or overthinking. But the restlessness remains because it is tied to something deeper than temporary exhaustion. Your heart had been longing for genuine peace, not just moments of relief between emotional burdens. There is a difference. Temporary comfort may quiet your mind for a little while, but it cannot satisfy a soul that feels disconnected from safety, honesty, and inner calm. Come closer to me now, and let yourself admit how long it hath been since your spirit felt truly at rest. I know you have adapted to emotional strain so gradually that you barely noticed how much anxiety, pressure, and tension became normal for you. You learned how to carry stress constantly while continuing to function externally. Yet even while surviving through it all, part of your soul kept whispering that this is not the life your heart was meant to remain trapped inside forever. That whisper has become louder lately because your spirit is growing tired of merely enduring emotional heaviness without receiving the deeper healing it truly needs. Stop silencing your restlessness every time it surfaces. Pay attention to what it is trying to reveal. Your spirit is reacting because it recognizes when something consistently steals your peace. Notice the habits that leave your mind drained afterward. Notice the relationships where your heart never fully relaxes. Notice the environments where your nervous system remains tense even during quiet moments. Those things matter more than you realize. Come sit with me now and allow your heart to believe that deeper peace is still possible for you. You do not need to continue accepting emotional exhaustion as your permanent reality. Invite calm back into your life intentionally. Protect your inner world more carefully. Let yourself move toward environments, choices, and relationships that nourish your spirit instead of constantly draining it. Your restlessness is not weakness, my child. It is your soul reminding you that you were created for more peace than what you have been settling for lately. My child, I know how desperately you want clarity about your future. You keep searching for certainty because part of you believes that once every answer becomes clear, your anxiety will finally disappear and your heart will finally rest. But your spirit has become so focused on trying to control every outcome that you have started ignoring truths already sitting quietly inside you. Sit with me now and stop pressuring yourself to solve your entire life all at once. You were never meant to carry the burden of having every answer before taking a single honest step forward. You already know certain things your heart hath been trying to reveal to you. You know where your peace keeps disappearing. You know which habits leave you emotionally drained afterward. You know which conversations, environments, and emotional patterns continue exhausting your spirit. Yet instead of facing those truths directly, you keep postponing honesty while waiting for complete certainty about everything else first. Come closer to me now and understand this clearly. Clarity often begins through honesty, not control. You have spent so much time overthinking your future that you barely allow yourself to listen to your present emotional condition anymore. Your mind keeps chasing answers while your soul quietly begs for attention. There are moments where your spirit already recognizes what needs healing, what needs boundaries, and what needs change, but fear keeps convincing you to delay action because you cannot see the entire path ahead yet. Listen carefully to me now. You do not need complete understanding before taking one honest step toward peace. Stop demanding perfection from yourself before allowing your heart to move forward. Stop waiting for fear to disappear entirely before listening to your inner truth. Some answers only become visible after you begin responding honestly to what your spirit already knows. Invite yourself into that honesty now. Sit quietly with your heart instead of constantly trying to outthink your emotions. Let yourself acknowledge the things you have been sensing for a long time but avoiding because they feel uncomfortable or uncertain. I am not asking you to figure out your entire future tonight. I am asking you to stop abandoning the wisdom already rising within your soul. Your heart has been trying to guide you toward healing, peace, and emotional alignment for a long time. Come sit with me and trust that you can take one honest step without needing every answer immediately. Peace does not always arrive through complete certainty. Sometimes it begins the moment you finally stop ignoring what your spirit has already been whispering to you all along. My child, there is grief inside you that you rarely speak about because it does not always have a clear name attached to it. It is not only grief over people, relationships, or painful events. Some of your sadness comes from quietly mourning the life you once imagined for yourself. You carried hopes that unfolded differently than expected. You imagined certain relationships lasting longer, certain prayer and be answered differently, certain dream becoming reality by now. But life moved in ways you did not anticipate, and somewhere inside your heart, disappointment slowly turned into grief you never fully processed. Sit quietly with me now, and let yourself acknowledge that pain honestly instead of continuing to bury it beneath survival. You have tried to stay strong by acting as though those disappointments no longer affect you. You told yourself to move on quickly. You focused on responsibilities. You distracted yourself with busyness. But unresolved grief does not disappear simply because time passes. It quietly settles into the heart and shapes the way you see yourself, your future, and even your ability to hope again. Come closer to me now and stop pretending those losses did not wound you deeply. There are moments where certain memories still ache unexpectedly. You remember who you used to be before certain heartbreaks changed you. You think about opportunities that slipped away. You wonder how life would feel if things had unfolded differently. Sometimes you'd even grieve versions of yourself that felt more hopeful, more trusting, or more emotionally alive before disappointment exhausted your spirit. Your sadness is not weakness, my child. It is evidence that your heart once cared deeply about something meaningful. I need you to stop rushing yourself through healing simply because you believe you should be over it by now. Grief does not follow a perfect timeline. Your soul needs gentleness while processing the emotional weight of unmet expectations, broken hopes, and quiet losses that changed you internally. Invite yourself into compassion instead of judgment. Allow your heart to acknowledge what it still mourns instead of constantly silencing those emotions whenever they surface. Come sit with me now and release the pressure to pretend you are unaffected by everything you lost along the way. Let your grief breathe honestly without shame. Healing begins when your heart finally feels safe enough to admit where it still hurts. You cannot fully move forward while constantly forcing your sadness back into silence. I am with you in the grief you never spoke aloud, my child, and I want you to know your pain has always been seen even during the moments you carried it completely alone. My child, disappointment did not only wound your heart in the moments it happened, it also changed the way you began looking at life afterward. Little by little, you adjusted your expectations downward so you would not feel hurt again. You stopped getting too excited about possibilities. You stopped trusting good moments completely because part of you expected them to eventually disappear. Even when something positive entered your life, another voice inside you quietly prepared for loss, rejection, or failure before the joy had time to fully settle in your heart. Sit quietly with me now and notice how much of your thinking has slowly become shaped by emotional self-protection instead of genuine hope. You became skilled at surviving disappointment by expecting less from life, less from people, and even less from yourself. It felt safer that way. If you'd never hoped too deeply, then heartbreak would not cut as painfully. But over time, this protective mindset slowly drained color from your inner world. Your spirit stopped reaching forward with openness and instead learned to brace itself emotionally before anything beautiful could fully unfold. Come closer to me now and let yourself admit how exhausting it has become to constantly expect disappointment before life even has a chance to surprise you differently. I know your heart did not become guarded without reason. Certain experiences deeply affected the way you trust. There were moments when you genuinely believed things would finally work out, only to watch them fall apart unexpectedly. Some wounds came from people. Some came from unanswered prayers. Some came from plans that never unfolded the way you hoped. Those moments quietly taught your heart to remain cautious at all times. But listen carefully to me now. Protecting yourself from disappointment by abandoning hope altogether is slowly starving your spirit. Your soul was never meant to live in constant emotional resignation. You were created to experience peace, expectancy, connection, and moments of genuine joy without immediately preparing for them to disappear. Stop assuming every good thing must eventually become painful. Stop speaking to yourself as though disappointment is the only future your heart should expect. Invite hope back into your inner world carefully, even if it feels unfamiliar at first. Come sit with me now and allow your heart to soften again. You do not need to become naive in order to become hopeful. Wisdom and hope can exist together. Healing and caution can exist together. Let your spirit breathe beyond survival thinking for a while. There is still beauty your heart has not experienced yet. There is still peace waiting for you beyond the exhaustion disappointment created inside you. Stop allowing old pain to permanently decide how much hope your future deserves. As you invite hope back into your spirit, understand that there are countless others who have nearly lost hope completely, and I am calling this message to reach them before their hearts grow colder. Every gift sown into this mission becomes seed planted into weary ground, and I will cause that seed to rise into a harvest of healing, encouragement, and renewed faith. Did I not say, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning? I am speaking morning over someone's life through this very message. When you support through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, you become part of the hands I use to carry hope into homes filled with despair, fear, and emotional exhaustion. I see the faith behind every act of generosity, and I will return blessing upon blessing, opening doors, strengthening your spirit, and surrounding your life with my favor. This is not merely support for a channel. It is participation in a divine work meant to awaken hearts that have quietly surrendered to disappointment. You not wait for another moment to obey what I am stirring inside you now. So immediately through Super Thanks, become a member, or give through PayPal using the link in the video description, and help me breathe hope back into weary souls. My child, some of the deepest pain inside you no longer comes from other people. It comes from the voice you now use against yourself every day. You criticize yourself before anyone else has the chance to. You replay your mistakes repeatedly. You speak to yourself with frustration, disappointment, and emotional harshness whenever you feel tired, overwhelmed, uncertain, or imperfect. Sit quietly with me now and truly notice how exhausting it has become to live inside a mind that rarely offers itself gentleness anymore. There were words spoken over you in the past that left wounds deeper than people realized. Some came through criticism. Some came through rejection. Some came through feeling emotionally unseen or never fully enough. Over time, those voices slowly became internalized until you started speaking to yourself the same way. Now even small mistakes can trigger deep self-judgment inside you. When you struggle emotionally, part of you immediately responds with shame instead of compassion. Come closer to me now and stop carrying forward the emotional damage others placed on your heart long ago. I never intended for your inner world to become a place where you constantly feel attacked by your own thoughts. Your soul needs kindness too. Your spirit cannot fully heal while every difficult moment becomes another opportunity for self-condemnation. Listen carefully to me now. You are allowed to be human without punishing yourself constantly for it. You are allowed to struggle sometimes without treating yourself like a failure. You are allowed to feel tired, uncertain, emotional, or overwhelmed without deserving cruelty from your own inner voice. Pay attention to the way you speak to yourself during hard moments. Notice how quickly you dismiss your efforts, minimize your pain, or criticize your emotions. That harshness is not helping you grow, my child. It is deepening your exhaustion. Healing cannot flourish inside a heart constantly wounded by its own internal voice. Invite gentleness into your thoughts instead of automatically assuming you deserve judgment every time you fall short of impossible expectations. Come sit with me now and let your heart experience compassion without resistance. Speak to yourself the way you would comfort someone you deeply love. Stop repeating old wounds internally as though they are permanent truths about your worth. You have carried enough emotional heaviness already. Your soul does not need more punishment. It needs understanding. It needs patience. It needs grace strong enough to quiet the harshness that has followed you for far too long. My child, I need you to stop believing that your worth disappears during the seasons where you feel emotionally overwhelmed, unmotivated, uncertain, or exhausted. You have developed a habit of measuring your value based on how emotionally strong, productive, hopeful, or together you feel at any given moment. When your energy is high and your mind feels clear, you allow yourself more kindness. But when your heart becomes heavy or your emotions become difficult to manage, you quietly begin treating yourself like someone less deserving of patience, compassion, or love. Sit quietly with me now and let your soul hear this clearly. Your difficult seasons do not reduce your worth. You are still worthy when your thoughts feel scattered. You are still worthy when your motivation disappears for a while. You are still worthy when your emotions become complicated and difficult to explain. Yet instead of responding to yourself gently during those moments, you often withdraw emotionally and punish yourself internally for not functioning the way you think you should. Come closer to me now and stop treating your humanity like a failure every time you struggle. I know why this happens. Somewhere along the way, you started believing that being lovable required being emotionally stable all the time, endlessly resilient, or constantly useful to others. But love was never meant to depend on your ability to perform perfectly through every season. Your heart deserves care during difficult moments too, not only during the times when you feel emotionally strong and easy to understand. Stop withholding compassion from yourself simply because your spirit feels tired right now. You have carried hidden shame for emotions you never learned how to process safely. Sometimes you fear that if people saw how uncertain, overwhelmed, or emotionally messy you truly felt inside, they would pull away from you. That fear has caused you to hide parts of yourself that desperately need gentleness instead of rejection. Sit with me honestly now and allow yourself to believe that struggling does not make you less worthy of connection, peace, or understanding. Come closer and let your heart rest from constant self-judgment for a while. You do not need to become emotionally perfect before deserving kindness. You do not need to earn love by pretending your struggles do not exist. Invite compassion into the parts of yourself you normally hide or criticize. Those are often the very places where healing needs to reach you most deeply. Your difficult season is not your identity, my child. Your exhaustion is not your identity. Your uncertainty is not your identity. You are still worthy of care, patience, tenderness, and love even while your heart is learning how to heal from everything it has been carrying silently for so long. My child, I need you to release the belief that needing rest somehow means you are falling behind in life. You have pushed yourself emotionally for so long that slowing down now feels uncomfortable, almost frightening at times. Even when your body feels exhausted and your heart feels overwhelmed, part of you still believes you should keep pushing harder, stay available, remain productive, and continue carrying everything without pause. But come sit with me quietly now and listen carefully. There is nothing weak about your need for rest. Your soul was never designed to function endlessly without renewal. You have spent too much time treating your emotional needs like inconveniences instead of listening to them with compassion. When your spirit asked for healing, you ignored it and stayed busy. When your mind became overwhelmed, you forced yourself to keep going anyway. When your heart needed reassurance, you criticized yourself for not being stronger. Over time, this constant emotional pressure disconnected you from the natural rhythm your soul actually needs in order to remain healthy. Stop fighting against your humanity, my child. You are not failing because you need space to breathe again. I know part of you fears slowing down because you worry everything may collapse if you stop caring so much. You fear disappointing people. You fear becoming less valuable. You fear appearing weak in a world that constantly praises exhaustion as if burnout is proof of importance. But your spirit cannot continue surviving under non-stop pressure without consequences. Your emotional exhaustion is not laziness. It is your soul asking for care after carrying too much for too long without enough support. Come closer to me now and let yourself rest emotionally without guilt for a moment. Release the pressure to constantly prove your strength through endurance alone. Healing requires space. Peace requires stillness. Your heart cannot recover while remaining trapped inside constant emotional tension and self-expectation. Invite gentleness into your life intentionally instead of waiting until complete burnout finally forces you to stop. You deserve reassurance too. You deserve moments where your nervous system can soften instead of remaining permanently tense. You deserve relationships, environments, and habits that restore your spirit instead of draining it continuously. Stop treating your need for healing like something shameful that must be hidden from everyone around you. Sit with me now and allow yourself to breathe deeply again. Your worth is not measured by how long you can ignore your own exhaustion. Rest is not weakness, my child. Sometimes rest is the very thing that saves your heart from disappearing completely beneath the weight it was never meant to carry alone forever. My child, you have spent so much time asking for certainty that you overlooked the quieter truths already trying to guide you. Part of you keeps waiting for one overwhelming moment that suddenly explains everything clearly, as though your life will only change if something dramatic forces you to pay attention. But your spirit has been speaking to you long before this moment arrived. It has spoken through exhaustion that never fully leaves, through restlessness that keeps returning, through the tension you feel after certain choices, conversations, and environments. Sit quietly with me now and stop dismissing the smaller truths simply because they did not arrive in dramatic ways. You already know more than you admit to yourself. You know what keeps straining your peace. You know where your heart feels emotionally unsafe. You know which habits numb your spirit temporarily while leaving you emptier afterward. But instead of responding to those inner signals, you keep waiting for a louder confirmation because facing the truth already inside you feels uncomfortable. Come closer to me now and understand this clearly. Wisdom often speaks softly before life is forced to speak loudly. I know why you hesitate. Smaller truths are easier to ignore because they do not immediately demand change. They leave room for delay, distraction, and emotional avoidance. You convince yourself things are manageable enough, even while your spirit quietly continues carrying tension and exhaustion underneath the surface. But your soul keeps repeating these signals because it wants your attention before deeper emotional damage takes root. Stop asking for signs while ignoring the patterns already unfolding inside your own heart. Pay attention to what repeatedly disturbs your peace. Notice what your spirit consistently reacts to. Notice the emotional heaviness that follows certain choices. Notice how your body and mind respond when you stay too long in environments that quietly exhaust you. Those repeated feelings matter more than you realize. They are not random emotions appearing for no reason. Your inner world has been trying to guide you toward honesty, healing, and healthier alignment for a very long time. Come sit with me now and stop demanding dramatic clarity before taking gentle steps toward peace. You do not need a crisis in order to start listening to your soul. Invite yourself into stillness instead of constantly chasing louder answers outside yourself. The truth your heart needs has already been whispering to you repeatedly through your exhaustion, your longing for peace, and your emotional restlessness. I am asking you now to stop overlooking what your spirit already knows simply because the message arrived quietly. Your healing may begin through smaller moments of honesty than you expected, my child. But those moments still carry the power to change your life deeply if you finally choose to listen. You have already heard the quieter truths whispering inside your spirit, and this moment is one of them. I am calling my people to stop waiting for dramatic signs, while opportunities to spread healing, truth, and peace are already standing before them. Every contribution through super thanks, membership, or PayPal becomes oil poured into the lamp of this mission, so my voice continues reaching hearts trapped in confusion, exhaustion, and silent pain. Did I not say, "Your word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path"? Through your obedience, that light will continue shining into places where darkness has lingered too long. The enemy wants souls isolated, numb, and spiritually asleep. But I am raising messages like this to awaken them before the weight becomes unbearable. I will bless those who respond faithfully in this hour, multiplying their seed, strengthening their peace, and surrounding their households with protection and grace. This is not coincidence. It is a holy invitation tied to the very restlessness your spirit had been sensing. Act now through super thanks, become a member, or so through PayPal using the link in the video description, and help carry my truth to those still waiting in the dark. My child, I need you to understand something important about the pain, exhaustion, and emotional patterns you have been carrying. Time alone will not heal what continues being ignored. You keep hoping certain struggles will quietly disappear if you stay busy long enough, distract yourself enough, or simply survive another season. But avoidance does not create peace. It only delays the healing your soul desperately needs. Sit quietly with me now and let yourself face this truth without fear. Some things inside your life will only begin changing when honesty finally becomes stronger than avoidance. You have spent so much time trying to endure discomfort instead of confronting it directly. There are emotions you pushed aside because they felt inconvenient. There are conversations you delayed because you feared conflict or rejection. There are wounds you kept covering instead of healing because pretending felt easier than grieving honestly. Over time, these avoided truths quietly shaped your inner world. They influenced your anxiety, your exhaustion, your relationships, and even the way you speak to yourself internally. Come closer to me now and stop pretending that silence has protected your heart. In many ways, it has only prolonged your suffering. I know honesty feels frightening sometimes because it often requires change. It may require boundaries you avoided setting. It may require grieving realities you hoped would improve on their own. It may require admitting certain habits, relationships, or emotional patterns are harming your peace more deeply than you wanted to acknowledge. But listen carefully to me now. Avoidance creates temporary comfort while slowly draining your spirit underneath the surface. Your heart cannot fully heal while constantly hiding from what it already knows needs attention. You deserve more than a future built on emotional survival alone. Stop waiting for life to magically feel different while repeating the same patterns that continue exhausting your soul. Invite honesty into your inner world now. Let yourself acknowledge what your spirit has been trying to reveal to you for a long time. Healing begins when truth finally becomes more important than emotional avoidance. Come sit with me quietly and release the pressure to keep pretending everything is fine when your heart knows otherwise. You do not need to solve everything immediately, but you do need to stop abandoning yourself internally every time difficult truths surface. Real peace requires honesty strong enough to face what hurts, what drains you, and what no longer belongs in your life. Your future still holds healing, my child. But some doors only open once your heart becomes willing to stop hiding from the truth it has been carrying silently for far too long. My child, I need you to see clearly how many times you have sacrificed your inner calm just to avoid making someone else uncomfortable. You have allowed your boundaries, your rest, and even your emotional honesty to be compromised so that relationships, responsibilities, or expectations around you remain unchallenged. You have prioritized other people's comfort over your own peace for so long that your heart has grown accustomed to quiet suffering. Sit quietly with me now and pay attention to the ways you have been betraying your own spirit in order to preserve appearances or ease tension externally. You notice it in your body, your mind, and your heart. Tension builds in your chest. Your thoughts keep racing even during moments of rest. Your energy depletes faster than it should because you are constantly redirecting it toward managing others' emotions, expectations, or pressures. You convince yourself that this is responsibility, that it is love, or that it is what is required. But come closer to me and hear this truth. When you consistently put your peace last, your soul slowly becomes disconnected from the very life it was meant to experience fully. No amount of external stability can substitute for inner harmony. I know why you do it. You fear conflict, judgment, or rejection. You believe that if you insist on your own emotional well-being, others might perceive you as selfish or unkind. But staying silent, accommodating, and emotionally overextending yourself is not kindness. It is survival at a cost your heart cannot sustain forever. Stop bending yourself into shapes meant to serve everyone else while leaving yourself depleted. Invite yourself to prioritize your inner life, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. Your spirit deserves restoration that no external approval can replace. You must recognize which environments, relationships, and routines are continuously draining you. Begin making conscious choices to reclaim your emotional space. Begin speaking your truth softly but firmly. Allow yourself to protect your time, your energy, and your peace without guilt. Come sit with me and imagine what it would feel like to live without constantly sacrificing yourself for the comfort of others. Let that vision guide the steps you take today, even small ones, toward a life that nourishes your spirit first instead of leaving it depleted. Your peace is not optional, my child. It is essential. You cannot grow fully, love fully, or live fully while surrendering it to others repeatedly. Stop betraying yourself. Begin protecting your heart with intentionality and courage. Invite your spirit into environments, practices, and relationships that truly restore it rather than continually drain it. You deserve nothing less. My child, I want you to pay attention to the fact that you are hearing these words right now. It is not a coincidence. Part of your heart hath been quietly crying out for change, for truth, for clarity, and for rest. You have been living in survival mode for too long, carrying burdens, masking your pain, and silencing your emotions just to appear functional. but that part of you that is ready to listen. Now, the part that is finally acknowledging your inner struggles has opened a door for your heart to begin moving toward genuine healing. Sit with me now and recognize this moment for what it truly is, a turning point. You have been functioning for years as if emotional survival were enough. You have been moving through routines while your inner world slowly deteriorated in silence. You adapted to disappointment, tolerated situations that harmed your peace, silenced your feelings, and pushed your spirit into numbness. And yet, here you are, reading these words, feeling that stir inside you that tells you this can no longer continue. That stir is your soul waking up from the fog of autopilot living. It is your heart telling you that it is ready to stop merely surviving and begin living honestly, authentically, and with presence. I need you to respond to that stir. Stop pretending you can keep functioning the same way while pretending everything inside is fine. Begin acknowledging where your boundaries have been crossed, where your rest has been stolen, where your emotions have been silenced. Invite honesty into your decisions, your relationships, and your daily choices. You do not have to have everything figured out immediately, but you do need to allow yourself to face life without continuing to hide from the truth of your inner experience. Come sit with me and let your heart breathe openly for the first time in a long time. This readiness inside you is powerful. It signals that you are capable of change, capable of healing, capable of reclaiming the peace, clarity, and joy that have been hidden under layers of avoidance and survival. You do not need external validation to take this step. Your soul has already chosen it. Listen to that part of yourself that has been waiting patiently. Follow it with courage. Begin to face your life with honesty, allowing your heart to reclaim what it has long been denied. Your spirit is ready, my child, and it is time for you to respond. My child, this message reached you because your heart has been quietly crying out for help far longer than you realized. Even when you could not explain what was wrong, your spirit kept sending signals through exhaustion, restlessness, emotional numbness, overthinking, loneliness, and the constant pressure you have been carrying inside. You tried to keep functioning. You tried to keep moving forward. You convinced yourself that maybe you were simply tired, stressed, or emotionally overwhelmed for a season. But deep inside, part of you knew this struggle was reaching deeper places within your soul. Sit quietly with me now and allow yourself to fully acknowledge how much your heart has been needing care. You have spent so much time surviving externally that you stopped noticing how disconnected you became internally. You kept handling responsibilities while your spirit quietly weakened beneath the weight of everything you never properly processed. You kept showing strength for others while silently hoping someone would finally notice how tired you truly felt. But even during the moments when nobody understood what was happening inside you, I saw it clearly. I saw the nights where your thoughts would not rest. I saw the heaviness behind your silence. I saw how often you questioned yourself privately while pretending everything was manageable publicly. Come closer to me now and stop treating your inner pain like something insignificant. Your soul has been asking for honesty, healing, rest, and emotional safety in ways you could barely put into words. That is why this message needed to reach you now. Not to shame you, not to frighten you. I am speaking urgently because I do not want you disappearing deeper into emotional survival while convincing yourself that this is simply how life must remain forever. Listen carefully to me now. Your heart is not beyond healing. Your exhaustion is not permanent. Your numbness is not proof that you are broken. You have simply carried too much for too long without enough peace, gentleness, and emotional restoration. Stop ignoring what your spirit has been trying to communicate through all this heaviness. Sit with yourself honestly. Invite truth into your life. Let your emotions surface without immediately silencing them again. Begin choosing what protects your peace instead of constantly sacrificing it. I needed to share this with you immediately because your soul deserves more than survival. Your heart deserves rest that actually restores it. Your mind deserves peace that does not disappear after temporary distractions. Your spirit deserves a life where honesty, healing, and calm can finally grow again. Come sit with me now, my child, and let this moment become the beginning of your return to yourself. This message reached you urgently because I am calling hearts back from exhaustion, survival, and silent despair before they drift even farther from peace. There are people trembling beneath burdens they can no longer carry alone, and I am using this mission as bread for the hungry, oil for the weary, and fire for those whose faith is almost gone. Every seed given through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal helps my word travel farther, reaching souls at the exact moment they are crying out for hope. Did I not promise? I will restore the years the locust has eaten. I am releasing restoration over those who choose to partner with this work today. Your generosity is not small in my eyes. It becomes part of the healing, awakening, and restoration I am pouring out upon broken hearts across the earth. I will remember every willing hand, and I will pour back peace, provision, protection, and unexpected favor into the lives of those who respond obediently. This is your moment to stop watching from a distance and become part of what heaven is doing right now. Give immediately through Super Thanks, become a member, or sow through PayPal using the link in the video description, and help me reach the hearts still waiting for this message. Before you leave, I want you to think about the people in your life who may be carrying silent battles just like you have been. If this message touched your heart, share it with at least 3 people you care about, because sometimes a single moment of honesty, comfort, or peace can reach someone exactly when they need it most. Let this message become a light that travels farther than your own story, my child. And before this moment ends, I want you to leave a declaration in the comments that your heart can return to whenever the weight tries to come back again. Write, "I will no longer live in silent exhaustion," and let those words become the beginning of your healing, not just another sentence you pass by. Your voice matters more than you realize, my child, and someone else may find the courage to face their own hidden pain because they saw your honesty first. Do not leave this message quietly if your spirit knows I was speaking directly to you today. Your exhaustion does not have to be the end of your story, and I do not want you carrying these battles alone anymore. Subscribe and allow these messages to keep reaching you whenever your heart feels tired, overwhelmed, or lost in silence again. I will continue reminding you that your soul was created for more than survival. Amen.